welcome to the San Diego International Airport Brand Guidelines How-To video series. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the sand color palette and how to use it. Just like our home San Diego, we are bold, bright, and confident, and our color palette reflects that. The range of colors used is not only visually exciting, it represents the diversity, energy, and passion of our community. Our overall palette falls into 4 categories: sky, sea, fresh, and sand. The entire spectrum works in unison to bring cohesion to the brand and vibrancy to our message. To ensure accuracy when reproducing the palette, color matching standard Pantone colors should be used. You can also use CMYK, RGB, and hex values for consistency across different media if needed. There are 3 different palettes, all with different uses. They are the corporate, secondary, and tertiary palettes. The corporate palette consists of the brightest version of our 4 categories and should be used first and foremost on all materials. The secondary palette consists of darkened versions of our corporate palette and is available to support the use of the corporate palette when necessary. With the exception of copy, for which gray should be used, we should always strive to stay in our corporate or secondary palettes. However, if you're stuck with a photo that doesn't play well in the sandbox with our corporate colors, the colors shown within our tertiary palette are here to help. The color palette is easy to use and can be followed by simply typing in the Pantone, CMYK, RGB, or hex codes into the program you are working within. For this example, we are working in PowerPoint and changing the color of text. Highlight the text that you want to update the color on. From there, click on the arrow next to the text color on your toolbar. This will bring down a drop-down menu with predetermined theme colors to choose from. If you want to manually put in your color, you'll want to click More Colors. This will bring up a new pop-up menu, and from there, choose Custom. Choose the color from our color palette that you would like to use and insert the RGB values into the red, green, and blue value boxes and press OK. You can find these value numbers on our color palette. For this example, I chose the sky color under our corporate palette. Now that you are familiar with our color palettes, you may be thinking, but how do I put these colors together? Meet the sand color wheel. This color wheel shows recommended pairings and is meant to help take the guesswork out of that decision. These pairings are meant to act as a guide and should not be viewed as a mandate. The outer ring of the color wheel contains all of our corporate and secondary colors. These colors can be paired with their neighbors, as well as those across from them. The color across from them will provide the greatest contrast. The middle ring contains the tertiary palette, which can be used for pops of color. The tertiary colors are on top of the 2 corporate and secondary hues they complement the most. The center contains our gray, which is meant to act as a support on all pieces and pairs well with our entire spectrum of colors. This would be a great tool to print out and keep handy at your desk for quick reference. When it comes to general usage of the color palette on materials, the corporate palette colors should be used first and foremost on all materials. These should be your go-to colors for headlines, icons, and headers. Sky is the core of our brand identity and should appear whenever possible for people to immediately identify our brand. The secondary colors should be used in a way that supports our main color palette, like in graphs, tables, and icons. With the exception of copy, for which gray is the go-to, our tertiary colors should be used sparingly. They may be used as pops of color in graphic elements or as a way to emphasize copy. However, we should always strive to stay in our corporate or secondary palette. The go-to colors for graphs, charts, and tables are sky, sea, and fresh values from our secondary palette. These hues should provide adequate contrast for any type of graph, chart, or table you use. If a 4th color is needed, Pantone color 368C from our secondary palette may also be used. If additional colors are needed, tints and shades of the secondary palette should be used rather than introducing a 5th hue. Gray can and should be used for copy and structural elements where necessary. When adding color to images for technical purposes, try to stick to the corporate and secondary palette and use varying degrees of transparency to call out specific details. When choosing colors for overlays, consider making the less important elements, like roads and parking lots, more transparent than the pieces you want to highlight. In order to allow our brand colors to stand out against a busy photograph and to draw attention to specific elements, dim the photograph to about 70% and add a layer of 30% gray on top. Thank you for watching the Sand Color Palette Usage How-To video. If you still have questions after viewing, please reach out to your marketing team for assistance. Have a great day.